Welcome to an absolutely exquisite African dawn. We are in the middle of Djuma Private Game Reserve in search of all wonders that are African wildlife. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
Welcome to the most fantastic day in August. It is Killer Bee Day. Killer Bees! And today we will be celebrating everything Brent and Brian. And there we go, the thumb is saying good morning. So this morning we will be looking for birds, buffalo. We've even decided we might change a few animals' names for Killer Bee Day. So we'll be looking for Bingana and Barula. Of course, we're only joking. But we are down south on Djuma, and we are looking for any sign of Karula and the cubs. And the lions are making, of course, a lot of noise around. And so Steph and Herbie are up in the northwest looking. And we're going to come check down around the southern sectors looking for some leopard. We've had overdoses of lions, so I think the killer bees need to put their killer instincts into play and see if we can find a leopard on this absolutely exquisite Sunday morning here in South Africa. Now we are live and we are interactive, so if you'd like to know more about the killer bees and all the animals and stuff out there, you're more than welcome. Send me an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Now, Brian, where are the leopards?
That way.
Brian says the leopards are that way, so we shall continue that way. Chris Rogue says, how did we get the nickname the Killer Bees? It was from one of you guys out there. I can't remember exactly who, but it just seems to happen that when Brent and Brian are together, the wildlife put on more of a performance. I think we went through a particularly purple patch. I think we had leopard 28 days in a row. And we also had leopard chasing cheetah. We had Kunuma smack a buffalo on the bum. We just went through a really purple patch. And it was decided that when Brent and Brian were together, the wildlife seemed to perform a little bit better. Now, I would love to actually know who gave us the nickname originally. If anyone out there can remember, or if it is you, please let us know. Hashtag SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv. The killer bees would be most appreciative. Now, of course, one of our favorite things is birds, because they begin with a B. So hopefully the elusive white-throated robin will make an appearance today. But while we search for all things bee and, of course, the leopards, let's go see how Steph's doing in the northwest. Hyenas.
Good morning, good morning. And yes, it is a fine morning this morning. Brent and his bee day, or whatever he wants to call it, I wish him luck. Bee day to me means something completely different to finding animals that start with a B. Well, those lions, as we've quite rightly heard the whole night, have just been roaring and roaring from this area. And when we came back to the camp, just after drive, we heard the distress calls of a buffalo. And I'm feeling that these lions tried to kill a buffalo that came in last night. There's quite a large herd that came in at sunset, we didn't actually find, and which I've been looking for the last 40 minutes or so. They seem to have split. Some of the herd have gone back north, obviously chased by these lions, and some of the herd have gone south towards quarantine and towards where Brent is driving around today. They've left me, everyone, Aubrey, Taxon, and Brent have left me to look for these lions all on my own, which is bad for everyone because I'm terrible at finding lions. We do have Herbert as a backstop, and I'm taking it nice and slow as we approach the pan here. We do know the lions are close by because literally at they've literally been roaring every 20 minutes or so the whole night. Most of us have puffy faces this morning and are a little bit dim-witted after having a lack of sleep, barring those in camp who actually do sleep quite well. Safari, you've just hit the nail right on the head, and you've suggested that we come and have a look at the Gallagher Pan, which is exactly where we are right now, because this is where we heard those lions roaring for the last time this morning. And I also feel the same as you, that they're here somewhere. They're here in these bushes here somewhere. Mostly lions won't lie at the water. They'll lie near the water in the hope that whatever comes this way will have to pass on one of these game paths. And it's on those game paths, the restricted access paths, that they'll look to lay an ambush for anything. Now, I'm just going to scan here quickly. I don't see anything immediately like a lion. I don't know about you, Dave. How do you feel about it? Yes, and so it begins. Let's take a drive down onto that little island where they were last night. Or yesterday afternoon at least, anyway. Let's see what is going on. Herbert will absolutely chastise me if I drive over any of his tracks, making his already difficult job even more difficult. Alright, let's have a look up here on the island here. They were chasing buffalo around last night, so it is going to be a bit of a mishmash of tracks here. We could hear them riding a buffalo. It's got this, the buffalo have got this most interesting distress call. It's something that carries in the bush for long, long distances. And it's designed like that. It's designed to bail out the fact that a buffalo is in distress and he's or she is calling for help from their comrades. Okay, so no tracks on the road here, which is weird. I'm just crawling around now, scanning everything, every quarter that I can. Let's see here again. It's taking us just a bit of time just to make 100% sure we're covering everything. Aqua, who's speaking to us all the way from Hawaii. Wow, that's about as far. It's about as far as you can get from South Africa. It's literally on the other side of the planet. Hello there, firstly, and secondly, you have made a comment to ask, do we feel that the Birminghams have been roaring more than they should be for a common boundary patrol or boundary call? And you've asked, do you think they are threatened? What was that noise? I just heard this funny noise as we drove in here behind us. The bush is silent right now, but there was this really funny noise behind me. But let's carry on going down here. There's absolutely no tracks here where we are. All right, now to answer your question, Aqua, I think that the Birminghams are roaring more than they have been lately, simply because they've been tied to the Nkuhumas with these new cubs for a while. These are their new cubs. It's their genes, it's their babies, and they are, as I feel, probably enjoying this new family that they've got. They're enjoying the fact that they've got this new family, and because of that, they're not patrolling as much. And because they aren't patrolling as much, they need to constantly belt out this challenge to other male lions around them. Right, and I think I'm going to go and investigate what that sound was. And while I do that, Brent has got an update on his B-Day discoveries for you. See you later.
Well, the only update is it's cold. We're right down near the Moati River, so it's a couple of degrees colder than it would be on the crest. And it's about apparently 13 degrees, I think, Celsius, which is 50-something Fahrenheit. I think it's colder myself. Brian agrees. So we're just going very, very slowly here. Because this is a main access road, there's lots of vehicle traffic. So don't want to miss Queen Karula's tracks. Okay, now of course, let's see if anyone out there has got some ideas for Killer Bee Day. We've got stuff in store for you, but let's see if we can get you guys involved, see if you've got any good ideas for what we should do. And remember the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter, or pop us the email, questions@wildearth.tv. There we go. The noisy arrow-marked babbler. Oh, James Richard. I think that's an excellent idea, James Richard. Says happy Killer Bee Day. Hopefully we see some badgers. Well, we are heading to an area that is good for badgers. We've seen most of our badger sightings have been around that area. Here we go, the noisy arrow-marked babblers getting their morning going. Now, I had a friend in northern Botswana whose least favorite bird in the world was a babbler. It wasn't the arrow-marked, they don't occur up there. It was the heartlibs, which looks very similar, but it's got a white rump. And every time he tended to over-enjoy himself on a Friday evening, the babblers would decide that his window was the ideal place to babble from about 4:30 in the morning. There's been many a thing thrown out of that window at the babblers, but it seemed to be their favorite spot. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer is in one of the most beautiful cities I've been to, San Francisco. And Jennifer says she would like to see a bateleur. Now, I think we can arrange that. Might be a little bit easier than James Richards' budgers, but we can definitely try for both. And this eastern area of Djuma is a really good place for both. See, this is why we have to go slowly. You can see access vehicles. Someone's got an early flight to catch, so off they go. Ah, there we go. Chris Rogue, thank you very much. It was Chris Rogue who gave us the nickname the Killer Bees on the 15th of March. So we've been known as the Killer Bees for over a year now. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. Ooh, 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 we have a battle. There's some male crested francolin battle. Look at that one, he's got a piece of his... There must be a very good-looking female crested francolin around. Now, if you look on the back of their legs, they've got a very sharp spike that they use to stab each other. Oh, Now, with a lot of animals out here, they prefer a vocal battle or a visual battle rather than actually tackling each other, although these two seem like they have. But now it looks like the guy on the right is losing. He's backing off, but he doesn't want to turn his back. And you can see some of his feathers are out of place. And here we go. That is a very ungraceful exit. Definitely been defeated. Oh, there we go. He's rushed in. Oh, see how they try to flick that very sharp back spike into each other. I'm not losing. I'm not losing. I'm not losing. Oh, has it been a turnaround? Oh, that one looked like it connected. Oh, miss. As we got two prize fighters here, feeling each other out. One on the left seems good at the dodge, the duck and weave. And then if we come out a little, oh, let's just wait for them to go. Now, if we come out a little bit, all the females spurring them on. Oh, where are the females? They're just on the left of the road. And there's another one in the road. Every time, there we go, now. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. Wow. Oh, gone behind a mound. Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, they come back. This is quite a serious Franklin fight. Normally a little bit more posturing. Let's try it. That's one of the females at the back there. Looks like the rest of the females have got bored of the fight. Oh, there goes one across the road. Oh, tactical retreat. Oh, there's another male. There's definitely a very sought after lady somewhere amongst this group of crested Franklins. Shame the poor loser ran off and ran into another male. So this is now a different two fighting, or no, a different one, the same one who ran away. The victorious male is now also making, there we go, is this going to be a battle royale? There we go, there he is. Can you hear the slightly higher pitch of the female? She's just stopped calling now. There she is again. Is he retreating again? Well, it seems like it's all a little bit more calm now. Let's just move forward. Oh, here we go. Beating a retreat. So if he was a little bit less vocal. Mobile Paddy says they're fighting over who their favorite killer bee is. Well, here we go. I think it looks like it's over. Unless the retreating Franklin decides to start making noise again. Look, there we go. All puffed up and looking. So here we go. Here's the victor coming towards us. Oh, and he's got a lady friend. Look at him. He's the one at the back, all puffed up, looking very impressed with himself. And that must be the female who's causing all the ruckus. Come on, one last cry of victory. Well, back to foraging for food, and we're going to keep foraging for animals. Well, here we go. That is the first bee or bird on the Killer Bee Day. So how many birds are we going to go for on both drives? I think we can get to 50 different species, Brian. What do you think?
I think we can try.
We can try. So on both drives today, we're going to try and get to 50. And that is why I'm reversing for the bird species number, no, it's number 3. We had Aramark babbler first. Now, of course, that's a great bird because it's got a bee in its name, the babbler. Now, these ones don't have a bee in their name, but they're just as noisy. The hardy-dar ibis. Look how he's using his beak to sift through the leaves, looking for any tasty treats. Definitely one of the noisier bird species around. Okay, let's let the hardy-dars continue searching for their breakfast. We're going to go look for badgers and battaliers. So while we search for everything bee, as well as the cats, of course, let's go back and see how Steph's search for the big cats is going.
Yes, we are now at the Gallagher Pan, and we have no sign of these cats, which means that they are probably still in this little block close to where the camp is, to be quite honest. I think that is exactly what's happening. And now we've decided, oh, hang on, wait, audio is muffled. Things are happening over here, don't quite know. I'm sure you can hear me. Otherwise we can lip sync this as slowly as I can. But that was a beautiful sunrise that we had right there. The sun has just crested, literally 2 or 3 minutes over the horizon at the moment. We are standing by here at the Gallagher Pan, not only to hear for the lions, but also because Herbert has arrived at the Gallagher Pan and is combing the area around the water to see if he can find where they came for a drink last night, and hopefully from there where they left the area out towards the bush. Myself, Taxon, and Aubrey and Herbert are in this area. I have no doubt that we'll come up with some or other answer to this question in the next couple of minutes or so. But having said that, and while they get their job done, I think it's a good idea for us to go and have a look at what happened to the rest of those buffalo. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the Nkuhumas tried to kill a buffalo last night. They may have been successful, which is why we're not seeing tracks following the buffalo herd, and they may be lying on a buffalo kill right now. That's what I'm hoping for. The most likely event is that they tired themselves out trying to kill a buffalo and split the buffalo herd. The larger portion of the herd went north into Buffelshoek, and a smaller portion of the herd crossed south towards Quarantine. And I haven't had any time to follow that particular herd now, but that is what we're going to do while these guys look out for those lions. So let's carry on going and let them unfold the story on this side. It's far more pleasant and less scary you following me around in the seat than watching an empty seat while I get scared off by a lion. So Trenton, you've asked me if I can tell the difference between a male's and a female's paw prints by their footprints? Yes, absolutely. I may even have an example of that for you right now. I think I have a dear friend of mine's tracking book here. There we go. In my menagerie of books that I have here, let's see if we've got. Okay, so this is the tracks of a male lion. Obviously, the male lion is about as big as my hand. The female lion slightly smaller. This is a picture of the male lion's tracks, and you can see that the male lion's tracks are very round. You only see their back foot in their tracks because they step footprint on footprint. You can see very round compared to the very angular female track. So it's got an angle, a definite angle. So size and the presence of that angle there is what gives it away as a male and female track. Let me show you here. There's a picture of one. That angle is very apparent there. Can you see there? There. And there. That angle is very apparent. And here's a male's track. There. And you can see that rounded edge. So compare the two, angle there and rounded edge there, and you'll see the difference there. That is how we tell the difference between a male and a female track of a lion. All right, we're going to send you over to Brent. He's got a fish eagle to show you.
It's a fish eagle with a catfish. Look at that. Now, that must be coming from Buffle's Hook, flying back to where its nest is. Wow, isn't that incredible? I was too slow. I tried to get a picture of that, but I was a bit slow there this morning, fiddling around in my box trying to get my camera out. But isn't that awesome? That's something we see too often, especially with the drought. Now, I think that fish eagle is flying from the big dams in Buffle's Hook down to where its nest is around the Moati drainage, somewhere in one of those big jackalberries. But also, we've just been listening to hear if we can hear any barks of Inyala and Kudu. No such luck and no sign of leopard yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep heading along our eastern boundary, and hopefully we're going to find some tracks. And this is also the best spot to look for badgers and bateleurs around here. Now, we'll go down to Drakensberg Road a little bit later, and there's often bateleur that roost around that area. So what number is that? Number 5 or number 6 on our bird list, Brian? We've got arrow-marked babbler, hardy-dar, crested franklin, fish eagle, number 4. Okay. So guys, Brian and I, we're not going to be the best at keeping count, so you're going to have to keep count for us, please, on our bird list. We're going for 50 in 2 drives. I think we might even beat it. Hi, Aqua, who's in Hawaii, who's wondering if I have any scary baboon stories. Brian, do you have any scary baboon stories?
No.
No. I've got a few. Some of them are quite humorous, to be honest. So, for those of you who might have recently joined the SafariLIVE family, you'll know I've been living in the bush for most of my life. And I was working up in Zambia. After I left Zambia, I went to work for my dad. And I held quite a senior position in Zambia, but when I went to work for my dad, he said very simply, just because you're the boss's son doesn't mean you get to sort of slip straight into the guiding or managing. You have to start at the bottom. So my first job working for my father for about 4 months, I got paid the equivalent of about $30 a month. And I was a baboon minder. Now, baboons in safari camps can cause quite a lot of damage, and break things and get into kitchens, make lots of mess. So for 4 months, we had a really big baboon problem at one of our camps in the Okavango, and I was issued with a pellet gun. Well, initially with a catapult, but then I upgraded to a pellet gun, and my job was to chase baboons. So the only way really to stop baboons coming into your camp is to make their life so unpleasant that they stop. So most people, what happens when they chase a baboon, most people stop after 50 meters. And then the baboon's like, okay, he's going to stop, and then he's going to go sleep under a tree, and I'll sneak back in. So my job was to literally chase them. And I used to chase them for kilometers sometimes, running through the Okavango, chasing them. And I had some interesting things. I ran into lions quite a few times. I ran into buffalo. I ran into to elephants often. But that was my job. But probably the most humorous baboon story happened when I was working in the Sabi Sands. I actually had quite a few humorous baboon stories. So now, a very interesting thing about baboons, and most primates for that matter, is they are able to tell the difference between men and women, and probably by smell. And even vivid monkeys will push their luck, take chances. Oh, hello, waterbuck, with ladies, but they'll run away from a man. So, had a really nice family from the States on safari with me. It was a mom and her 2 daughters, and a baboon got into her room and actually locked her well, she locked herself in the bathroom. And when we were ready to go out on safari, there was no sign. So we went to go look, and there was a baboon sitting with all her cosmetics, tasting all of them. The baboon looked quite ridiculous, like pieces of lipstick all over him, and spread makeup all over the place. And those baboons actually happened to spread her underwear through the riverbed as well, which was quite amusing for our staff, but I'm sure not so amusing for my poor guest. But she was a good sport about it. But there we go, you can see the little circle on the waterbuck. Now, nice following mechanism. Now, the Sabi Sands emblem is waterbuck, and there are quite a lot of waterbuck. And in this part of the world, they're not exclusively around water, which in other parts of Africa, they seem to be far more exclusively around the river systems. But here, they're spread throughout the bush. I'll let them move away. Now, the funniest baboon story was also in the Sabi Sands, but it wasn't my guest. So when you work at the lodges, every now and then, you become duty ranger. There was another name we used to call it, which is not fit for on the air, because it's a really nasty job. Basically, you're off afternoon. If someone gets a flat tire or breaks down, you've got to go out, or if there's other stuff, like a snake in a room at 1 o'clock in the morning, you've got to go catch it, take it out. But so all the lodges sort of have outside showers. So I get a call from one of the lodges. Duty ranger, do you copy? Standing by. Please, can you go to room number 3? There's a problem with an animal there. And what's the problem? No, I can't tell you on the radio. Okay, so normally it's a snake, or in those rooms right on the river, sometimes a leguan, which is a monitor lizard in the rooms. So I grab the snake catching stick, off I trundle down to room number 3, and I meet this lady. I'm not going to say where she was from. And she's standing there in her dressing gown, her arms folded like this. And I'm like, sorry, what's the problem? Is there something? And it's a beautiful, beautiful room, and massive granite rocks in the river. And there's this big troop of baboons. And this lady now tells me, no, I must get rid of the baboons. They are watching her in the outside shower and pleasuring themselves. And I just looked at her, and I thought she was joking for a second, but she wasn't. She was dead serious. So I had to go run across the rocks going, hey, move baboons, because she was convinced they were the world's first voyeur baboons. Although in the baboons' defense, I definitely don't think they would have wanted to see her without her clothes on. But anyway, that was probably one of the funnier baboon stories I had to deal with. And that was, yeah, quite a long time ago. We've had some very strange requests from guests, and actually that same room had a couple of funny things. So, a lovely couple was staying in that room, and it was a single lady. It was a single lady, and she came through to coffee in the early morning. Just having a look for leopard tracks, none there. Came through for coffee in the early morning, and she said to myself and the lodge manager, guys, there's a really big lizard in my room, and it's actually scaring me a little bit. So we're like, no, don't worry, it's a gecko. So lots of geckos around, and they eat the insects, so we quite like geckos. And of course, we don't like killing any animals, so most of us have spiders that stack around the house. It's my friendly spider, it eats the mosquitoes. So we're like, no, don't worry, it's just a gecko, they're completely harmless. And then she came through for afternoon game drive, and she was like, no, the lizard has taken over my bed. And I can't actually lie in the bed because it's lying across the bed. And it can't be a gecko. So I said, let me go have a look. And there was a monitor lizard of about 2 meters that she'd shared a bed with overnight. And we'd told her it was just we thought a big gecko, probably about 3 inches, 4 inches. And it turned out to be about a 2 meter, which is what, over 6'5" monitor lizard she'd been sharing the bed with. So I did feel a bit bad about that, didn't I? But catching a big monitor lizard is actually not an easy thing. And they've got that long tail that they use as a whip. But it was winter, so it was warm inside the room. So this monitor lizard thought, hey, this is the spot for me to spend my winter months. Okay, so it looks like it's quite quiet on the leopard front. And it looks like Steph is continuing the bird torch with a bird that likes to headbang.
We had a head-banging woodpecker, but he's just flown off. But anyway, we've got some impala here, which are consolation for you. They're bashing their faces together, just to keep in theme with Brent's game. These are all youngsters. These are young males that are just busy wrestling with one another. Nothing too serious. And isn't this just fantastic? Impala at nighttime come onto these open areas. It's a little bit easier for them to see what's creeping up on them. And it looks like they're heading off into the thickets now on the side of these open areas to go and feed for the day. They don't go too far. You find them about a mile or so at maximum from these open areas. I go and lie in these thickets, spending the days trying not to be eaten by everything that comes around. Just an update on what's happening with these lions. There's the woodpecker again. We can perhaps go and find that one. Let's go and see if we can. The tracks of these lions go north away from Galagopan. We've got Herbert on the tracks at the moment. He is on top of the tracks, as he says to me on the radio, which is a good thing. At least the lions are not on top of him. It always astounds me the way that these guys pick up these tracks and can follow these animals the way that they do. Oh, look at the sky. I just want to show you how blue the sky is through these leaves. Have a look at that. Isn't that just the most amazingly colored sky? It's just this deep blue. For some reason, the wind, I think, last night and yesterday has blown away a lot of the dust. And it's really just such a magnificent color. Try and get my bald head out of the way. Being ambushed by David, who's going to be lying down flat here. Herbie, just go with that message again. Herbert's got some news for us. I'm just busy listening to Herbert right now. Copy that. I'll come along Gallagher shortcut. I'm quite close to there now. All right, so he says he's actually heard the lions close to Gallagher shortcut. He hasn't seen them, but he's heard them. It's like Brent and Herbert. They can make me drive fast here and worry about him. All right. Kaya and Sienna, both of which are only 8 and 10 years old, have just asked me a question about whether or not they could come on safari. So firstly, I want to say hello to the two of you, and secondly, tell us where you're from. And thirdly, I'll answer your question. It is going to be a bit scary for you. Going on safari and seeing these big animals is always scary, but you must come and do it. Many, many, many South African children, many African children all over the world grow up in and around these game reserves from when they're tiny babies. And it's a fantastic experience. So if you want to come on safari, you must ask your mom and dad to put it into your Christmas stocking, or to ask Father Christmas for a wish to come to Africa. And definitely come and see what we are showing you firsthand. It'll be a fantastic adventure for you. And tell your mom and dad you promise not to get eaten much. All right, now we're on this road over here. I've got to keep the Game Drive radio on, which is distracting me to the point of, I'll tell you, this small, innocent-looking device is a torture machine. What it does is it speaks in your head while you're trying to think, and words come out this, which means that I've got 3 different things going on at the same time. I haven't quite learned how to do that just yet. Getting there. Now, they've heard the lions somewhere here north of the drainage line. The drainage line lies just here. And from my knowledge of where we're going to cross over the drainage line towards where the old hyena den was on shortcut Gallagher. And I've got a feeling that we are going to bump into Herbert, and I think it's Texan actually might even be walking with them. Let's see where we're going. So I have to keep this on so that we can hear if Herbie needs to be rescued with a chainsaw or a helicopter. And we are just going to be here because Herbert said that he heard these lions. I don't quite know what that means. It means that maybe they're having a bit of a scrap with one another. There is that female. Let's just get this in. Herbie, go again with that. Okay, copy. Just confirm you're in your vehicle again and heading on to shortcut Gallagher. Okay, copy that. All right, so Herbie's going to catch a lift at Aubrey for some reason. And I suppose we're going to stand by here on the road. And if he heard these lions, he may have a fix on them without... So what he's basically done is he's found these lions, basically. Having heard them and not having seen them is still a confirmation of these cats. And what you don't want is you don't want to scare them. So he's actually done the right thing by moving away from the area without those lions seeing him or having even realized that he's there, because they're less likely to move that way. And especially if they're in this horrible block that we're in at the moment. And I say horrible endearingly, it's a fantastic wilderness area, almost impenetrable for cars. And you don't want to chase these animals any deeper into this bush. We actually want to try and show them to you, to be honest. Now, I suppose it's just a waiting game to wait and see where they are. We're just crawling along here. I don't actually know why. I think I'm actually just going to stop right here. Let's see if we can go forward a little bit and talk about something interesting that's around the car. Or not. We can also send you over to Brent, who's probably got a much more interesting story to tell you.
So we're checking, ooh, what was that? No, it wasn't. We're checking now on the northern edge of our traverse area. We're going to do another trip through Badger country on Drakensberg, but since it is Killer Bee Day would not be the same without a trip to Buffels Hook. So we're going to go have a look at the waterhole, or what's left of it, to be more precise. Anna-Marie, I definitely think we can. Anna-Marie says, Brendan Brian, could you find us a blue wax bull for Killer Bee Day? I think we need to start a hashtag as well, Brian. Hashtag Killer Bee Day. Ah, apparently it's already been done. Well, thank you to those for hashtagging Killer Bee Day. That's interesting. See that there, Brian? It's a single line S track going into Buffels Hook, unfortunately. I think it's a bit old, maybe from yesterday though. I didn't come up this side of the world yesterday, so we're not going to dally about here. Interesting though, because the rest of the lines, or all the Nkuhumas yesterday were over there. Now, there's two prides that have been seen to the north and to the east of us recently. The Talamati pride, which I've only seen twice, never on SafariLIVE. Well, I had friends at Juma, and I was driving them around. I saw the Talamati pride, and then the Torchwood pride, which I've never seen, which apparently consists of 8 adult lionesses at the moment, and the Talamati is 5 adult lionesses, and I think about 7 sub-adults now, between 6 months and a year old. Some of them might even be over a year. And I know they were seen yesterday evening near one of the big water holes to the north of us. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see my favorite male leopard today, and this is a good spot to look for him. The ghost from the north, Gajima. Okay, let's head towards the remnants of the Buffels Hook waterhole. Oh, chill in the bottom of that dip. But the sun is coming out, and aren't we happy that Killer Bee Day is a beautiful sunshiny day? No wind, no clouds, actually absolutely no clouds. I haven't seen a cloud this morning. Now, the other unfortunate thing that we haven't seen this morning is we have not found any sign of leopard. So after we've done a check for the badgers around Drakensberg Road, I think I might go see what's happening on Arathusa. Okay, we're approaching the waterhole. What bounty will it hold today? There we go. There's a bird for the bird list. Oh, there was a bird for the bird list. There we go. Burchell's starling. Let's go forward. See if we can get another view. Hopping about atop the bush willow. Ooh, lots of birds around. Can hear an oriole. Well, we've got red-billed hornbill next to us. Hoppity, 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 hop. Okay, let's just move a bit forward. Now, I think it would be a strong assumption to say there's much water left in the Buffels Hook waterhole. If we have a look, there's a bit of mud, tiny bit of water, and it looks like even the blacksmith lapwings might have vacated the area. So the hippo has been in the mud there. You can see where he moved through. Oh. And we've got some more birds for the bird list. The ring-necked dove. Brian, is that a bone in Buffels Hook? Oh, well, let's get a bit closer. It looks like a retired impala. Okay. How brave am I feeling today, Brian?
Very brave.
Very brave. So we're going to be... Actually, looks like we'll have it. Very brave. Okay, let's go be brave. Now, to be brave and to be stupid are often quite similar, or quite closely related. So hopefully it's not the latter on this sunrise safari, because poor Brian will also have to suffer if my bravery turns into stupidity. Because the one thing I can guarantee is the mud of Buffels Hook does not smell very nice. So because it's Killer Bee Day, I shall attempt to retrieve the bone from Buffels Hook. Oh, I think I might need my stick for this. Now, let's assess carefully from the edge. Oh, that bone's looking further and further out the closer I get. Well, it looks like there could be a route through there. All through here. Well, this is looking quite soft. It is not an impala bone. It is, in fact, an inyala bone. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to need my stick for this. Hopefully the cameramen haven't hidden it again. No, I know they haven't. Dave keeps hiding it because I keep threatening to beat him with it. Brian, I can see you smiling already. I'm going to avoid the little dips. not too bad. Shall I see how far I can go? It's actually not looking too bad. Ooh. Wow. It's much drier than I initially thought it was. Not going to try that though. I heard the blacksmith plover, so they haven't vacated just yet. Watch me get all blasé and then suddenly sink. There we go. And then, oh, that was a bit softer there. It was a bit of an anticlimax. I really thought it was going to be a bit more stressful than that. There you go. Male Inyala. Actually, no, I lie. It's a male kudu, young male kudu by the looks of things. And you can see, not too old, the teeth, not too much wear. But something's chewed top of the horns there. Should we keep it, Brian?
Yeah,
let's take it to camp. We can mount it. Now, where are those blacksmith lapwings? Let me put my stick back. Always important to know where your stick is when you're out in the bush. Very useful things. Oh, here they come. There we go. Blacksmith lapwing. Another bird for our list. Oh, there we go. Let's jump back in the car here. Find my ears. Okay, well, that was a very much of an anti-climax. I thought I was going to have to do a bit of dancing on the mud there, but let's go have a look closely where this hippo is. Oh, but no, I think let's not look at dried or drying mud when Steph has got something far more entertaining to look at.
We have found these lions. Well, not we, I must applaud Herbert. He's found the lions, and they are inside that thicket that you're looking at there. You can just see the cubs playing, their little tails flicking. That is about what we've just seen of these lions. Now, well, just part of the adventure, we will get visual of them again. We just got to find a way across this particular drainage line. Once we've done that, we should be able to show you, hopefully we'll be able to show you a little bit better visual than we have at the moment. That said, it's not too much of a story. We're here with Aubrey, who's probably got more experience driving around this property than anybody else. He says that there's a crossing across this drainage line somewhere close by. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to let him find that crossing, and then we're going to come back and see if we can find these lions again. They're on the move, they're slowly on the move, which means one thing for me, it means they haven't killed anything. Which is a pity, because you know that male was looking a bit skinny today, and I'm sure that these females could do with a bit of a meal. And now they're moving away from Gallagher Pan. So either they've decided that the pan is not productive from a food point of view, or they were chased off there by those buffalo last night and they're just feeling a little bit edgy. Buffalo will kill lion cubs when they can. And you might find that these females have just become a little bit skittish. That pan might just be a little bit too active for them with the tiny cubs that they have at the moment. And so you don't really know. I mean, who knows what lions are thinking and what these particular mothers are thinking. They're good moms. Then Kahuma Pride has gone bang right up there again to a number of lions, 15 or so that we have at the moment. And so, yeah, they might just be looking after their best interests. I can still hear the cubs making a noise inside there. They're on the other side of this thicket that we have over here, this piece of bush that you can see in your screens there. Very, very, very thick. I don't seem like they've heard Herbert. All right, they're going through there. I think we can probably start driving. So now you're going to get a lesson in 4x4 driving 101. Trick is, close your eyes and forget that it's a company car. I think that's what Brent does. No, I'm joking. No, we're going to be as careful as what we can be. Wendy has just come back from the hospital, and I, for one, absolutely don't want to send her back there. So, the trick here is to follow the Land Cruisers, who are longer and a little bit more cumbersome than our agile little cars. And where they can go, we can surely do the same. Alrighty. So, the key here when we're driving off-road is obviously A, not to damage the car, and B, not to damage, and similarly, I wouldn't say even B, it's the same thing. A, point 2, is not to damage the bush unduly, and by saying that, I mean we don't drive over or drive even close to any of the endangered trees. I know what these trees are. For instance, this tree that's on my right-hand side, or left-hand side, excuse me, this green tree that you're looking at right here, that's a green thorn. That is a protected tree, and that I won't even look at while we're busy driving through here. And so there are trees that we do drive over and trees that we don't. And one of the trees that I'm not going to drive over is this one on our left-hand side. It's got a branch sticking out here. Have a look at the spines on that guy. That there goes straight through your tire and will leave us stranded as surely as if I rip Wendy in half over one of these stumps. All right, let's go this way around. That way we avoid punches. So we don't drive over any trees here that are protected. We tend to just stick to trees that can recover themselves, and for the most part, those are combretum. So any of the combretum trees, with the exception of leadwood, which is a protected tree, we can drive over and they'll jump sort of up behind the car. You may find that they lie down for a season, but they almost always recover. And I mean, you've driven around this piece of bush with us for the last couple of years, and you'll notice that barring the tracks to kills or to den sites, this bush is very resilient. You can see that Aubrey has driven in front of me. Ah, we've got a vulture here. Do they have a kill? I don't know. All right, let's go and see what is going on here. So Michael, you've asked me, what do we do with when one of our cars breaks down or can't go anymore? Do we bring another one in? Do we send it away? Michael, we've got 3 cars. We've got this car, she's called Wendy. We have Rusty, which is what Brent is on at the moment. And then we've got Jigger, which is currently in our garages and has a few of her parts missing. She's just spent the better part of 8 or 9 weeks at a car doctor in hospital, having a bit of a makeover, taking a bit of a break, and enjoying some well-earned R&R. These cars we do fix when they break. I don't think that there's a car on this planet, really, that is better suited to this particular work that we do. It's a short wheelbase Land Rover that we use. And although Land Rovers have got a reputation for being finicky, to say the least, they do repair relatively easily, and with the skills that we have in this country, we can quite easily fix these cars and have been fixing them for years and years and years. The type of work that we do with them for 6 hours a day, I don't think a tank would endure, but they do it quite stoically, I must be honest with you. So just to, in conclusion there, we fix the cars when we can on site. We do have a series of mechanics that work locally and across the country that also know our cars quite intimately. We have a team of guys that look for spare parts when we can, so that we have a spare parts bin, for lack of a better word. And then on site, we have a magician called Opa. He's a local mechanic, and he also understands our cars intimately. And between all of those people, we can keep these cars going. So with 3 cars, we can have 2 running most of the time. And hopefully we'll be able to field all 3 for you soon, and in a variety of different areas as well, which is nice. That is the growth plan of Wild Earth. We've got Aubrey in front of us. You can just see him here. He's busy reversing and going through. These lions are in incredibly thick bush. You can hardly walk through here in summer, let alone drive through here in winter. But I'm trusting that Aubrey knows exactly what he's doing. He's been here for decades and knows where and where you can't drive. So I'm just relying at the moment on his expertise. And we'll see where these lions are going and what they're up to. I might just have to switch my radio on again. I'm being naughty by not having the radio on. You can see, so increasing the volume to torture mode. And let's see, what do we do here? All right, these lions seem like they're moving. It happens, lions move, especially this time of the day. And they might be following those buffalo that have moved off and crossed into Buffelshoek. They might be following them. Let's see where Aubrey wants to go. He's being very careful. There's a fallen down tree there and he doesn't want to bump over the tree. They can have this, fallen trees have this alarming ability of shooting sticks up around you. And as you can see there, they're almost wearing that branch. So you do it with any speed and those branches come up at you at speed and can cause quite sore heads and sore fingers. All right, while we get ourselves sorted around in this maze that we're in at the moment, hopefully we can show you a little bit more than just the shadow of a cub going around. Brent's got an update for you, and we'll catch up with you once we're through all of this stuff.
So we're checking straight through the center of Djuma at the moment, looking for badgers and battaliers. And if we have no luck there, I think I am going to head towards Arathusa, see what's happening in the west. Might take a little drive down the Mawati in search of the elusive white-throated robin. So far, no leopard tracks. Now, let's look for some birds. Now, of course, what always happens is when you're off air, the birds are literally everywhere, and as soon as you're on air, they disappear. What's been walking over here? Howard the hyena. Now, for those of you unsure about Howard, it's my nickname for all hyenas. Kyle would like to know if I have any funny stories about hyenas. Well, actually, Kyle, I know someone who was shouting at a hyena not 2 nights ago. And who was that?
Me!
Why were you shouting at a hyena, Brian?
The hyena was trying to climb onto our kitchen table.
And why was the hyena trying to climb onto the kitchen table?
They tried to steal the bin.
So we often have hyenas try to steal our dirt bins in camp. Last night, it actually succeeded. Purple roller disappearing overhead. Nice, Brian. Oh, there we go. Another bird for our bird list, even though it was highly mobile. Yes, so the hyena actually succeeded in stealing a bin. So what they used to do in camp is drag them. But then that wakes everyone up and gets Brian popping his head through his window going, "Hey, stop it, hyena!" Maybe not in those exact words. But so the hyena is so strong now, it actually picks up. And I mean, those bins are big. I don't know, probably weigh alone 5 kilos. And with garbage in it, it picks up the bin and lifts it off the ground so it can sneak it out of camp without making a noise and then devour what's in it once it's outside. Now, hyenas are designed to do this. Hyenas have a very interesting evolutionary connection with human beings. So So, oh, but before we go on to that, one of my favorite little birds, the emerald spotted wood dove. Love their wandering walk. So when you find their tracks, it's never in a straight line. They're always zigzagging, often crisscrossing over their own tracks. Now we can see the emerald starting to shine in the sunlight there. Hey, little one. Still puffed up because it's still quite chilly. Oh, I think we're doing quite well. We must be about 10 birds so far, Brian. Let me know, how many birds are we on? Hashtag SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv. So, oh yes, hyenas have a very interesting evolutionary connection with human beings. So, modern-day hyenas evolved at about the same time as modern-day humans and in Africa. So, humans are quite messy, so we leave a lot of rubbish, even our... That's not something you see every day. I think the last person to drive on the road, their eyes weren't as sharp as mine, because they've definitely been, looks like they have been driven over. How do I look?
Oh,
so fetching. So you do find interesting things out on safari, like sunglasses, cameras, clothes often hooked onto thorn trees. Quite tough. They survived a driving over. They lost their branding. Maybe I'll find their branding. Oh, I am. I don't think they're designer, Brian, unfortunately. Oh, I know. Oof. Very strange colour. I think these are definitely ladies' sunglasses. What do you think?
They suit you.
They suit me. Well, thank you, Brian. We'll find out on the radio if anyone's lost a pair of sunglasses. I don't think they'll want those ones back, though, to be honest. They're a bit bent out of shape. Very orange lenses as well. I don't know how you'll see anything driving around with those on. Okay, back to hyenas and their evolutionary connection to human beings. And so humans, of course, although we are able to extract a lot of meat off the bone and even the marrow by breaking it up, we are unable to chew bones and things like that and digest certain materials. So when you're looking for old hominid or human sites in terms of paleoanthropology, even from hominins that predate human beings, we often left something that's called a midden. So normally we think about middens in terms of animal dung and stuff, but a human midden is basically an old trash heap. So human beings, you will find bones, pieces of often tortoise, which was a very popular thing for early hominins and humans to eat, bones that have been broken. You can see tool marks on them, and if you're close to the coast, especially the middens are full of oyster shells, mussel shells, various crustaceans. So hyenas have evolved alongside us, and they've historically fed off all these human middens, and the modern day trash is the modern version of a human midden. And so hyena is quite interesting. So if you walk into lions on foot during the day, we're the dominant diurnal predator, they'll often take off, run away, try to stay away from you. Hyenas sort of look at you, they'll keep their distance. They're like, when I know he's not fast, he's not going to catch me, and I know that I've got a potential meal if I hang around where the humans are. So that's why you quite often find hyenas will hang around camps, and it's not a new thing. It's been happening for hundreds of thousands of years. What's that little thing sitting up there? Is it a grey go-away bird? No, it is an African green pigeon silhouetted there. You can see that little beak. Quite different from the other pigeon and dove species because it's got a little hook, and they are fruit eaters. There we go, another bird for the birdless. African green pigeon sunning itself. Not the best visual, but we'll take it. So, sorry, Carl, continuing on hyenas. So that's why we often find hyenas around camps, and it happens very frequently that they sometimes get caught in confined spaces around the camps, and that's when they can be potentially dangerous. Generally, they will always avoid conflict, and the only time a hyena is truly dangerous to you is if you've fallen asleep and left your door open or your tent zip open, and they are, of course, opportunists, and they'll take advantage of that. But funny hyena stories, I think the funniest one I know is from my time in northern Botswana. We had, but before we carry on, there's a bird party. They're flying. Let's try to get a bit closer. So I think there's probably get 3 or 4 species if we're lucky out of this little bird party, if they don't move off too much. So in this closest little, right there, hopping around. Let's see if it hops out into the open. You can just make it through in the sort of center shot. There's a little southern black tit. There we go, see him hopping. Come on, out into the open so we can count you. There we go, you can see the white wings, very distinct. Oh, looks like he's caught something. Southern black tit. Another one for the bird list. Let's just sneak a bit further forward. Now, normally when you've got a southern black tit, you're likely to possibly have a couple of other species around. But I think they're a bit further off the road. They're flying away. But so when you see a southern black tit, you can look for chin spot. No, that's just the southern black tit again. But you can look for chin spot batis. You can look for often orange-breasted bushshrike, crombecs, a whole host of other species that these birds travel together while they are foraging. But again, back to hyenas. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. And the funniest thing, so we had a new lodge management couple who came in, and a lot of our staff in Botswana had been with us for many, many years, and they were convinced that there was thievery afoot in the lodge. So lots of random things were going missing, and eventually he left his camera bag on the bar counter, and that was gone. And they called my dad. No, there's someone stealing in camp and whatnot. And so we flew in and we went to have a look, and my dad had a chat to the staff. The staff were like, no one's stealing. But eventually what happened is I was walking around the peripheries of camp trying to see if there was a stash point, and I did indeed find a stash point of a very old female hyena who basically picked up everything that was left lying around in camp. There were clothes, there was the camera bag, she'd crunched through the lenses, there was paraffin lanterns, kerosene lanterns that she had chewed. Can't imagine that being too tasty. And I mean, literally anything, soap, shampoo, anything that was left lying around that hyena would chew. Here we go, little baby Inyala. Oh, full of the joy of morning. Oh, monkey alarm calls. Okay, that's right. It sounds like right on our southern boundary, in an area where Karula has been crossing quite a bit. So I'm going to shoot down there as quickly as possible. While we do that, let's go across to Steph for an update.
And that is precisely how you find leopard if you cannot track. You do birds until you hear monkeys calling or impala barking, and then you go and look there for the animal. So let's all hold thumbs for Brent. As you can see, I'm not surrounded by the world's thickest bush on the planet. In actual fact, this is allowing me to breathe and not feeling as claustrophobic as I was inside there. We called off that particular lion sighting between myself and Aubrey. The bush just got too thick, and apart from us not wanting to damage the cars, what we don't want to do is these lionests were obviously moving into that thick bush, and we just want to leave them be. We want them to have the power to say to us, listen, that's close enough. We're moving into thicker and thicker bush, and that's how we just do it with respect out here. So we've moved on, and onto bigger and better things. Maybe not bigger, but better things, let's say, than crashing through a bush and risking all of that stuff. So I don't quite know what I'm going to fill my time with just yet. Hopefully Brent pulls out some magic trick, and it gives me enough time to figure out what I'd like to and not like to do. But I think what I'm going to do is turn down here. Let's go and have a look at the Vuyatila Pan. After that, I'm going to cross the dam wall and maybe go down Central Road, just to show everybody that I still like Central Road. A lot of elephant in this area last night. We've got a whole herd of impala that's now at the Vuyatila Pan, and some nyala. Let's go and have a look at them. All right. That is a nice view. Kaya, who's only 10 years old, firstly, hello. And secondly, you've asked me what my favorite animal is. I like two animals. They share the top spot for me, Kaya. I like honey badgers and I like hyena, I should say. And they're my favorite because they're always doing something and they always look mischievous, and that appeals to my nature. So mischievous, busybodies is what I enjoy, with honey badger probably slightly edging out the hyena. So our walk in the rain from Iowa has just asked me if we've got any clan updates. And no, unfortunately. The last time I had anything to do with trying to search for the hyena den, or a hyena den here, was the other day when we found a lot of tracks close to Sydney's. And those tracks then went into Buffelshoek and in the direction of where we think there's a den on the other side of the Sydney's dam wall. I haven't had a chance to go and actually snoop around there. We need to go and do that on foot, which I'm hoping to do in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll definitely have a better update for you. For now, not much. For now, we think that the hyena den is still in Buffelshoek or on the Manyeleti boundary, where we cannot traverse. I think that we have got a portion of these hyena actually closer than that. I'm hearing a lot of vocalization around that area where we were just driving around with the Nkuhuma Pride. And that always is a good sign. That is a good sign that we've got some action. Now what you're looking at here are two young Nyala bulls. Just get my pink head out the way. I just think they're some of the most spectacular antelope. Even when they're young like this and they don't have those flowing manes of the older ones, they're still a pretty antelope. Oh, Bill, you've just asked me an interesting question. Wow, it's not so much more interesting than I don't really have an answer for it. You've just asked me, why do kudu and nyala horns curl? So firstly, they curl because that is what that family's character trait is. The Tragelaphus, or the spiral-horned antelope, have twirly horns. Now it's up to us to try and think of why they've got curly horns. So let's try and employ some reasoning to this particular one, because I don't actually know the answer to this particular question, so I'm just going to decide what it is. Horn structure is for two things. It's for display, and it's for defense and fighting with one another for mating rights over females. So display, and it's a show of I don't know, it's just showy. A very healthy set of horns, a very large set of horns, is from a distance tells you that this particular animal is mature and he's large and he's got good genetic stock. Large horns with their 2 points are also used to wrestle with one another so that strong males or equally strong males can decide which is more dominant, which fights better and is therefore equipped with a better gene to make the strongest babies possible. So those are the two functions of horns or antlers. With the tragelaphines, the spiral-horned antelope, I have noticed a third use, and that is where they break off branches at a slightly higher level than they can feed at, and so thereby increasing the layers that they can feed in, so increasing the height. They got more access to more vegetation that way. And I think that that is probably what I'm going to settle on as being the reason for why they have why they've got that spiral horn, is it's easier for them to hook a branch and break it with a spiral that you can get some other type of leverage on a branch and break off a branch, bringing it closer to your mouth so that they can feed at a higher level. And that's probably what I'm going to say. That is what I'm going to say is the reason for the spiraled horn, is they've evolved a spiraled horn to be showy, to help them with defense, but also to help them break off a branch and bring it closer to their mouths so that they've got a wider feeding range in the forest and therefore become a little bit more competitive as a family, as a group of antelope. Yes, that's what I'd like to say about that, I think. Hopefully that answered your question, gave you something to think about. If you think that there's another reason potentially, please feel free to throw it into the fray, throw it into this discussion. Send it via Twitter at the hashtag SafariLive, or email. Even if you find an article on it, you can email it through to questions@wildearth.tv, and Louise or Kirsty, I'm sure, will quickly go through it and send me through some answers which I can share with all of you. All right. So that's me done at Vuya Telepan. Donnie, you've asked me, do the staff here ever add water to the watering holes? Absolutely, Donnie. Most camps in the Sabi Sands do have a watering hole in front of the camp. This one is no different. We'll show you it quickly. There's no different to this particular watering hole. We pump it from a borehole, and most camps have something similar in the Sabi Sands. In actual fact, most areas in any of the game reserves that have a lot of tourists visiting them will have a pumped pan of some sort in the vicinity. Not all of them have them at the lodges, but there will be a pumped pan of some sort in the vicinity. And that's because surface water in Africa is actually quite rare, and it's very seasonal. And when you've got a business that needs cash flow 365 days a year, you need to make sure that you've got some water there. As it is, next to air, the single most important thing that animals need. It goes air first, then water, then food, then shelter and protection. So that is the 4 pillars in that order: air, water, food, and shelter that animals look for. In animals' case, not really shelter, but it's protection of some sort. And so by providing water, by providing surface water, we're actually doing them a favor and keeping animals there. So, Gage, I'm sure that was your name. I didn't quite get it there. It was a little bit soft, actually, in my ear. So, Gage, you've asked me what type of food do antelope eat. They eat a variety of different foods, in actual fact. Some antelope eat grass and are grazers. Some antelope eat leaves and are called browsers. And then you get these mixed feeders as well, like an impala, which can eat both grass and leaves. And then also, I'd like to add their common daycare as well, the tiny little dwarf antelope that we have here. They have a third one. They actually can feed on meat as well. So they have the ability to process meat, which is rare in a herbivore, for the following reasons. Our tummy is made of, in very broad terms, it's made of a tummy that has a section, a front section and a back section. The back section of our tummy goes into our small intestine, and that then goes into our large intestine, and they all have different functions. In herbivores, you tend to find that because of cellulose, because it's such a very difficult thing to try and break through and to try and digest, it takes a long time. So animals have a tummy that consists, a forward part of that consists of mulching up the vegetables that they eat, grass or leaves, mixing it with enzymes and mixing it with microbes, and then it takes a very long time to go through their intestine. They've got a very long small intestine, and that allows for the absorption to take place. When you're a meat eater, you have to have the capacity to eat a large amount of meat very quickly because it goes off. You then have to process a large amount of meat quickly because it goes off, and you can poison yourself. So cats tend to have, for lack of a better example, a tummy that can swell very, very big to hold a lot of food at once, and then a very large, short, small intestine, and then it goes into the large intestine and comes out pretty quick after that. So two very different structures. You can't have a very large small intestine and a very large long large intestine. You won't have enough space in your body to have that. So it tends to be either or. And that's why we have herbivores and carnivores. It's because of these two very distinct digestive systems. But a duiker has a little bit of both, and that's because a duiker has a very primitive setup in its tummy. So it's not that good at digesting the leaves and grass that it eats. It's also not that good at digesting meat, but it can live off of both. Whereas the more climax species, let's for instance take something like a waterbuck or a kudu or nyala, and something like a lion, have really accelerated down those paths. And they've got the two, at the moment, the epitome of the two digestive systems that they can have. Hopefully that answered your question there, Mr. Gage. All right, on that note, and while we go down here and see what else we can find down Twin Dams, I'm going to send you up to Brent, who's got an update for you.
So unfortunately, those monkey alarm calls were to the south of our boundary, but it could mean Queen Karula is on her way north, maybe coming to visit us for the sunset safari. So we've decided, because we were in the area, it's time for the search for the white-throated robin. I heard one calling, and say around that jackalberry over there. And we're going to stop and listen once we get into this spot. I can hear an oxpecker as well. There it is. So right at the tip top of that dead tree, the back one. There we go. Red-billed oxpecker. Hasn't found any mammals to land upon and feed off the ticks yet. Trying to listen for the white-throated robin. Being very elusive. No sign of the white-throated robin. I heard one calling around here a little bit earlier while we were on our way to see what those monkeys were shouting at. Wonderful big jackalberry. Now, Siberia, it says, since the seasons are changing, oh, it's my favorite antelope. And it's even better because it begins with a B. Siberia, I'll get to you now. How's that, Brian? It's a wonderful little female bushbuck. They are by far my most favorite antelope. Hello, little one. I just love the way they move. Now watch as she walks, she puts her back foot exactly where her front foot was to minimize any noise. So gorgeous. Now, the Zulu name for them is Mbabala. Now, hopefully you managed to notice before she disappeared, there's little white spots on her. And basically in Zulu, or we might get a view through there. See those beautiful little dainty spots on her rump? Now in Zulu, it means the one who was drawn on. So someone's taken a little white pen and dabbed little spots. Maybe it was the thumb. But that also even translates through to their Latin name, which is Traphalagus scriptus. And scriptus obviously also means the one who is drawn on. Now, the Traphalagids, or the spiral-horned antelope, are by far my favorite family of antelope. So we get 3 here. We get the bushbuck, the nyala, and the kudu. But there are a few more species as you move further north in Africa. Sitatunga, lesser kudu, bongo, mountain nyala. So really, really cool family of antelope. Where are all the birds that are supposed to be in the drainage line this morning? Oh, excuse me. So Siberia was asking, because of the change of seasons, are we going to have a butterfly or garden cam up? Well, I think the best butterfly cam is going to be the Juma cam, especially now as the butterflies start getting more active and they're going to be attracted to that water. So keep a lookout for butterflies there. As in a garden cam, there's not many gardens per se out here. It's all bush, so this is our garden. So we've got multiple garden cams. And here we go, under the Mawati Arch. Oh, I see some birds up ahead, Brian. There's a little bird party. That's what I was looking for here in the drainage line. Oh, I can see about 4 different species already. Just go very slowly, don't fly away. So list says we're on about 10 of 50 birds. Ryan, we think we're on 11. We might be wrong, but let's see if we can add few more. Okay, Brian in that big knobthorn at the back, hopping along the edge. A little bit more to the right. And there we go. I don't know what it is yet, I just saw it moving. I see some nice colour on there, don't you? Get my binos out. What is that? It's an orange-breasted bushwhack. There we go. You can just make out the bright colours of the orange-breasted bushwhack hopping around there. It's a nice one to add to our bird list. And you can hear her calling. That's the same one we were looking at. Okay. Oh, let's go forward a little bit. So, oh, there we go. Do you see it fly there? It's gone into that little spike-thorn thicket. Let's just have a look. So we're going to have to do a bit of cheating, I think. Let us try worm some bush birds out of the bush. So I'm going to do a little distress call. Psh, 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 psh. There directly, there he is. That's the one, or another one of the same ones I was looking at. Oh, where's he gone? Nope, so fast. I don't know if we can count that one. It was a rattling testicular. Let's see if we can get some out a bit closer. Have you got one? Oh, well done, Brian. There we go. Rattling testicular. Oh, off it goes. Now, I also saw Chagra and Combek, but I can't see where they've gone now. But, okay, let's keep moving down the Mawati. Oopsie. There we go. That's the little rattling testiculars. Keep moving opposite us. Laurie, do sunflowers grow in the Sabi Sands? I'm going to let Brian take this one, Laurie.
I planted many sunflowers. They were growing in the Sabi Sand.
What happened to your sunflowers,
They got
Brian?
devoured. I was so sad.
What devoured them?
What was it? I think a bushbuck?
It was a bushbuck.
Yeah,
Yes.
a bushbuck came in and decimated my garden. I was very bleak.
Yes, but of course they don't naturally. Oh, is it some little fly catchers? There's a pair of fly catchers, and on that, there we go. Brian's got them. There's one there. Oh, off it goes. Where's the other one? Closer. There he goes. Oh dear. Oh, let's go forward a bit. Now, this is one of our more common little flycatcher species. Not being very... Oh, they keep moving along, but let's get the drongo because I put it in the bank. It's sitting on that leadwood. Silhouetted fork-tailed drongo, making noise. Oh, Kale says we're on 15. Brian, if we come out on the closest, you got him. There we go. Well done, Brian. There's a very cool bird. Let's wait for him to pop out. There we go. A black-backed. Oh, is it? Looks like a puffback. There we go, black-backed puffback. Shrike. Well, there's 16. Maybe 17 already, Brian. There we go. Up in the open, there he goes. Fossicking about in that leadwood, looking for little insects to eat. Oh, we can hear some canaries. I think we need to get to a spot where the birds are closer to us. What do you think, Brian? Oh, there's some birds coming up in this jackalberry. I can't see what they are yet. The sun's just in a bad spot. Can you see it, Brian? Oh, wait, what was that? That looked quite interesting, whatever it was. Oh, there's another one up higher. I think the one pop out into the open. Hiding behind the dense foliage of the jackalberry. This is a star. It's a Cape Glossy starling, that top one. Now, the bottom one, I'm not sure where it is, but it looked more interesting. Like some, struggling to get a view. It's still hopping about in there. Oh, there we go. What are you? Ah, it's a crested barbet. Oh, there he goes. Difficult tree, lots of thick foliage. There we go. You can make out the crested barbet. Oh, off he goes. Now, one of the birds I'm looking for while we travel down the Mawati is one of the helmet shrikes. We see the white-crowned helmet shrikes very often, but we don't see the reds helmet shrikes as often. So, hoping we might find some this morning. No luck yet. You know, one of the best places to birdwatch, strangely enough, is actually in our car park. We always get lots of species there. So maybe when we're desperate at the end of drive to add a few more species, we might even do a bit of birding in camp. Hi, Liz. Oh, we've got a spider web. Whoop. Liz would like to know, do we ever see yellow-billed oxpeckers in our area? We do, Liz. Normally on buffalo, and when we've got big herds of buffalo, always a good spot to look for yellow-billed oxpeckers. I mean, we went through a stage where we saw them nearly every day for about 2 weeks on those Duggar boys around the Jumapan. Okay, I see one. It's one of the more common ones, but we'll get it off the bird list. We haven't done it yet this morning. The grey go-away bird. There's a gap, I think. So, there we go. Definitely, well, we've done a few of the noisiest birds around today. We've done the arrow-marked babbler, the blacksmith lapwing, now the grey go-away bird, and of course the hardy-dar ibis. Man, to you too. Man. Now, one thing about a grey go-away bird, never park your car under a fruiting tree. It seems that their droppings are like acid and cut through car paint. Okay, well, that's it. Keep complaining. And we'll get out of it. I think let's head towards Treehouse. There's always some good birds if we go along that little river system that heads there. And of course, Queen Karula might have moved further to the north, and that's a good spot to look for her. So there's a couple of more common bird species we haven't managed to get, so we'll keep looking for them, maybe find some Natal franklins. I'm really hoping we find two of my favorite franklin species, which is Shelleys and Koki. And it's a good time of the year to see them. Normally they're quite difficult to see because they skulk in the long grasses, but of course not much long grass around at the moment. Well, hello Dispatch Griffin, who has finally decided to start their bird list today. What a good day to do it, since we are aiming to try hit those species and hit them hard on Killer Bee Day. Now, the other thing we might find on this little loop through here is a brown-hooded kingfisher. We see them quite regularly. Ooh, but I just can't help it when I see a beautiful bushbuck out in the open. And there she is. Now, you can see those little white spots I was talking about clearly now. Could even be the same bushbuck I think we saw Always very alert. Feeding off the little bushes that are growing in the Mawati riverbed. So even when walking out in the open, watch her feet. Doop, doop. Exactly the same spot. Isn't that incredible? That's one of the ways to tell bushbuck tracks from the other smaller antelope track, is how they place them almost exactly on top of each other. Stunning. Well, I'll let her continue moving through, trying to get some sustenance in this drought. Ah, James Richard thinks we need a brain teaser for Killer Bee Day. What do you think, Brian? Should we make it a really tough one? Okay, brain teaser, brain teaser. Well, we'll start off with a slightly easier one, and because we are in search of birds, we'll keep it on the feathered front. And it was arrow. Well, we got a bird. Back, forward. Back. Brian's got a bird. Maybe this could be the brain teaser bird. I'm not sure where Brian's looking. Ah, a yellow-billed hornbill. Definitely not a yellow brain teaser bird, but a good spot by Brian. But we'll keep the first brain teaser of the day, slightly civilized. And talk, 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 talk. And it is, what is the national bird of South Africa? So, what is the national bird of South Africa? If you know what the national bird of South Africa is, send me an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So, we're going to continue in search of birds and all other wonderful things that are out here in this the magnificent Lowveld of South Africa. And while we do that, Steph has made his way, very strangely, all the way down to Cheetah Plains.
I have found my way all the way down to Cheetah Plains, and I'm just about to make some space for my friend over here to come past. So excuse us going into the bush like that quite suddenly, but bye, how are you? All right, thank you. Thank you. So, sorry, we just had to make some space on these single track roads. We've got the more nimble, we've got the more agile car, and I was being a little bit more courteous. All right, so we are on Cheetah Plains at the moment. Now, I've only ever been here once before, on a drive with all of you, and it was an exploration. You know, went left of the road, went right of the road, and I feel I'm probably going to have to do something similar today to try and find what we're looking for over here. Obviously, these sticks pride have been inhaling a buffalo for the last couple of days. That wonderful sighting that you had with Brent a couple of days ago of lion cubs inside of buffalo covered in blood and male lions swatting and going crazy. That's basically what we're going to be trying to find you today. There's just lion tracks everywhere, all over these roads at the moment. It's quite exciting. But anyway, we're on our way to try and see if we can find them. And see if we can, here's some vultures. This is where they were, I'm sure, because the vultures are all over the trees here. Let's show you what I mean by that. Have a look at that. This tree just literally draped in vulture. And those are all whiteback vultures, and they all would have been here to try and feed on that buffalo carcass that is around this area somewhere. Now they're just waiting for the thermals to heat up. I'm sure their carcass is finished already. That's a hooded vulture. And almost every tree that we've got here, there's a bunch of them. Let's see if we can afford a little bit and show you sitting in these dead trees. They need the elevation and open branches to land, to be honest. They've got such a massive wingspan, it's really difficult for them to take off from a thickly wooded branch. Go forward a little bit, Jeffy. Here's the leftover buffalo carcass. Nothing much left on it at all. That is all that's left of a buffalo. Not much, eh? Ew. All right, and so one minus buffalo in the Kruger National Park, and lions with enough metabolic energy to keep on going for the next 3 weeks. Not the cubs, but definitely the adults. Now the trick is to be finding where these cats have gone, and hopefully do that before the show has ended, hey? Let's go and have a look at 3 in a row pan. It's always a good place to start. Water, when you're full of buffalo, water is the next best thing. So let's go and have a look and see if we can find them here, and then from there we'll sort of do a circle around all the pans in the area and see if we can pick them up. There's just something different about driving around far away from your home base. It just feels like you're miles away from anything. We're actually very close to the Kruger National Park boundary here. And why that's important, it's because the Sabi Sands is an addition onto the Kruger National Park proper, and right up on its western side. What are you busy doing? Oh, you had something stuck on your leg, that's what you're doing. Have you seen some lions passing by? Yes? No? Okay. I think they're blessed with a very short memory, which I think is a very good thing. If you're an impala, you don't want to have to remember the horrors of the night before. And there they go. Alrighty, got some lion tracks on the road here, going backwards and forwards. Alright, and while I scan the road ahead, and so that you don't have to stare into the back of my bald head, Brent has an update for you and whatever he's been busy with.
Well, we found some pigs. Now, these pigs are often around the treehouse dam. Their hole is not too far away. Hello, funny looking. They are a strange creature. It's actually one of the animals that's hardest hit by drought. And at the moment they're going to be doing a lot of excavation, trying to get any nutrients out of the roots from the grasses. And I have seen them dig up tubers in dry times like this as well. But that one's not 100% relaxed. See how her tail starts going up a little bit? Looks like she wants to run away. Listening very carefully. See the tail, it doesn't quite get as relaxed. The one on the right seems far more relaxed than the one on the left. And she keeps looking back at us, making sure we're not a potential threat. And the other one's more concerned in finding food. Where is that one? Chewing. Now, Hannah, a big Safari Live welcome to you, Hannah, who is a new viewer. Hannah would like to know, are these pigs dangerous? If you corner them, Hannah, or if you stand in front of their holes at the wrong time of the day, but normally not, they'll just run away from you. And you can see that one's trying to put distance between us and her. So we'll not disturb her any longer and keep moving. Now, luckily no kingfishers and things that I was hoping for along the little river system that runs from the Treehouse Dam. Okay, so let's go look a little bit further to the west. So well done to Gail, Matthew, Shamsung, Lily, and many others. I think the brain teaser was far too easy to start with, and you guys all got it right. The national birds of South Africa is indeed the blue crane. It caught me so by surprise on the corner. I think it's a rattling testicular. Whoop, yes it is. But I can hear a lot of other bird species. This is like this is the bird party we were looking for. So let's sneak forward a little bit. I will show you a picture of a blue crane shortly, but let's see if we can add to our bird list first. Don't fly so far away. Come back, Summitable, come back. Fortunately, the road is turning towards where they flew. Oh, there's a drongo. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the common Summitable. Oh, there's some green wood hoopoes as well in the distance. We're going to try for them, even though they are quite far. Okay, so Brian, you see the fork-tailed... you're on it. Brian is so far ahead. He's on it. There we go. A green wood hoopoo. And a little chin spot batis has landed quite close to us. Oh, we're going to have to go back for him. No, don't fly away. There he go. I lost sight of him as he went behind us. He was in this marula tree. I think he's gone. Oh yeah, anyway, well, let's have a quick look at the blue crane. How's that, Brian? Brian's going to do some camera magic. There we go. There's the blue crane. Now, we don't get them here. They prefer open grasslands, so more common in the high veld. Oh, I'm sorry my screen's so dusty, Brian. I'll clean it. Thank you very much. See, Brian looks after me. Oh, moving things around. But there we go. There's the distribution of the blue crane on the high velds and around the mountainous areas, where there's a lot more open grassland. So we're down here in the low velds, so no blue cranes down here. But up in the mountains above us, around Delstrom and that, we do get blue cranes quite frequently. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, while we keep searching on Djuma, it seems like Steph has found, or possibly found, something interesting down on Cheetah Plains.
Not possibly. We're just busy checking a series of dams and empty pans along this drainage line, quite close to the Cheetah Plains camp. And this was the direction the last tracks from that kill came in. So the lions had walked away in basically a west, sort of southwesterly direction away from that carcass, and seemed to have traveled pretty far. I'm getting this sporadic tracks coming out of the bushes on the right-hand side, joining a road and leaving it, and joining it. I think they're going to be around here somewhere. We're now following quite a deep drainage line off to our right-hand side, which might offer some shade for these cats. It's just such a lovely day to be. And that's why I've got my jackets on. Still, 2 jackets, a jersey, a shirt, and a vest, just to keep me warm, nice and snug. Even though I think for the Northern Hemisphere people it would be laughable. We've just found the lions. Have a look there. They are there in the shade. Done. Yes, see, Brent, it's not only you that can track, although you do track a lot better than me. It's much easier for me to track in soft sand. Right. And here's the whole pride. Actually, I mean, I knew we needed to come and check these pans in these empty wallows, but to be honest with you, the fact that they've walked so far with so much buffalo in them is crazy. Alright, let's just put the car here first, just to see exactly what they're all about. It looks like we've got most of the pride here, in actual fact. With a Birmingham. Oh, look at those fat bellies. Now you'll immediately notice that 4 of the cubs are actually suckling from the females. And that's because they're not 100% weaned just yet. So, from what I'm told from Louise, there is supposed to be 8 cubs, but there are only 5 cubs in the sighting, so we're missing 1 female's cubs. And I would imagine that the cubs that are busy nursing from their mothers are those particular mothers' cubs, even though all the lioness here can share nursing duties. So we've got 2 more playing there, just 1 more. Ah, yes, there are a few more lions popping out of everywhere. So we're now only missing 1, right? Have a look at them fighting over the milk. Watch there. The 3rd cub has just decided to come and join in and is now pushing himself open a place. No, decided that it's much better just lying on mom. Right, well, we just get into a better position. We're just going to send you over to Brent, who's got a fire finch for you.
Now, this is one of the birds we struggled for a long time to get on camera. And there we go, a little petilia. Now, I've got to remember, it used to be called a Melba finch. And it's either, I think it's the green-winged petilia. There's an orange-winged petilia as well, but we only get the green-winged here. I'm just getting confused with the name changes to which one it is. I'm pretty sure it's green-winged. And this is only the 2nd time we've managed to put them on camera. And this is a really nice sighting of one. So little seed eaters. Now, often found in the company of the blue waxbill, which is, of course, on our list for today. And it is indeed the green-winged petilia. Now, I'm trying to see if there's little wax balls around as well. That is a male, that beautiful orange coloring on its face. Yes, that's a really nice bird. I wasn't expecting to get that one. It's quite a difficult one. So that is a definite win. And we're missing a lot of the common species. So Brian and I were discussing about what number we should hope to get to by the end of the sunrise safari to make a real good push for that 50 on the sunset. So we were saying anywhere around 30 we think is a good number for the sunrise safari. And then hopefully when it's warmer, we're going to start seeing things like bacheliers and vultures and maybe some of the eagles. We do have a fish eagle already this morning, so we do have one of the big birds of prey. But I've been keeping my eyes out for little birds of prey, sparrowhawks, goshawks, and so far, no luck. Well, there have been quite a few lizard buzzards around as well. And no woodpeckers yet either. Now, we're going to keep searching, but let's go back to Steph and possibly, I know that sounds terrible, but possibly the worst looking lion cubs in Africa.
The worst looking lion cubs in Africa, you say, Brent? I must say, I actually half agree with you, to be quite honest. They are pretty manky, these poor little things. I was just saying to David now, they must be, they are just one itch ball after another. This mange that they have creates in it, it's the way it spreads really, it creates the most unbelievable skin irritation. And all I want to do is just cover them in moisturizing cream and tie their legs to the floor, put them in straitjackets, but oh, shame. But they are enjoying themselves. I mean, I must be honest, these females are very tolerant of their cubs nursing at the moment, and that's because with full bellies, they have enough energy to produce enough milk for all of their babies. These babies are not fully weaned just yet. That'll happen at around about 8 months about, when these cubs will be fully weaned. And up until that point, although they'll eat meat more and more and more, they will still augment themselves with milk, and then they'll stop being these round little fluffy balls of fun, and they end up being these raggedy looking teenagers basically, with legs that are too big for them, and they have to fight their way into carcasses, and they go through a little bit of a downer between 9 months and a year and a half, to be honest. These lions couldn't have picked a better shady tree, and I think that's exactly probably why they came down here. It's nice and open, meaning there's going to be a lot of wind blowing here today. Plus, they've got this fantastic acacia tree that they're now under, so it's going to be really deep shade the whole day. And I think they are just going to lie here probably until late tonight. There's a chance they'll have to go and drink water. The females might want to drink some water. They might get a bit thirsty producing all the milk that they do, in which case they'll move off to the closest water point to have some water and carry on. Matthew, all the way from Michigan. Hello, Matthew. You've just asked me if these lions have the same sharp teeth as your house cats. They do, Matthew, although on a much, much larger scale. If you hold up your forefinger and you literally hold it in front of your face, that's how long the longest tooth is of a lion. About 5 centimeters and about as long as your forefinger. And probably thicker than your thumb at its root. So definitely big teeth. Sharp, maybe not as pointy. I mean, they're definitely sharp enough to puncture anything, but they are not as needle-like as what a house cat's would be. But definitely sharp enough with the amount of bite force that these lions can generate to basically go in and hold on into almost anything. Maybe not elephant skin. So Ziati, you're looking at all these cubs and same as me and going, how are they going to get rid of this mange? What is going to happen to this pride? Ziati, it's not uncommon for mange to attack almost any mammal. And generally what happens is it's when their immune systems are low. Mange is a type of mite, a skin mite, that feeds on the skin of these animals, basically making it itch like crazy and causing them to lick and scratch all their fur off. And because they're contact species, they pass it from one to another through social grooming. Now, these cubs, as soon as their immune systems pick up again, they should be able to shake off the mange. It may leave a scar or two. We will notice that in some cases giraffe are left with quite ugly scars. I have seen a completely bald impala before as well. And kudu every now and again have mange spots on them as well. So they might find that there's a scar or two on their ears in particular. With lions at least, their ears seem to take an absolute hammering. And they may have a hairless tail for a bit and some hairless patches on their bellies. But to be honest, I think that they will pull through. Mange can kill a cub that doesn't pick up condition. So cubs that are not in good condition, mange can cause such a system shutdown or overload that it will kill them. But it's rare. I would say that with the dry season in full swing, three lioness in this pride, plus a male that's stable at the moment, in an area that they have long been part of, I don't think that these particular lions have anything to worry about. Not from mange, at least, anyway. From other things, yes, but not from mange. What worries me is this little cub that's lying alone at the end of the tree stump there. He looks to be in the worst condition of all of them. Or she looks, I don't quite know what sex it is. May just be that that little lion cub is lying in the sun, went for a game on top of the stump, had a little bit of a game, and then got tired, decided to have a... I mean, that's always possible. But lion cubs that lie far away from their siblings and far away from their moms, of a cat that's not feeling well, is this moving away and seclusion. So I'll keep my eye on that little guy and see what he gets up to or what she gets up to during this sighting. Exactly, Anna Marie, you're saying these poor itchy babies, what a contrast to the Nkuhuma cubs who just are thriving at the moment. What I'd like to say about that, yes, it is a contrast, but it's not unheard of and not uncommon. About a year ago, maybe a bit more, it was last year, April, I went to go and see the super pride in the Kruger National Park on its eastern side, which comprised at that point 46 lions in one pride. There was a breakaway, 22 of the lions broke away, and the remainder of the pride, so the other 24 lions, were split into an even amount of females with almost an even amount of cubs, and the one split completely mange-ridden like this, and the other split not. Even though, and this is where it was such an amazing thing for me, even though they joined one another, the whole pride joined one another on a buffalo kill. I watched 46 lions inhale a buffalo in about an hour and a bit, maybe a bit more, hour and 30 minutes, a buffalo was finished, with manky cubs on the one side of the buffalo and pristine cubs on the other side of the buffalo. And the only conclusion I could draw was the fact that the cubs went through a little bit of a downer with so many mouths to feed, they just couldn't catch enough food to feed them all in one night, and half the pride got mange. And the other half stayed healthy, and therefore they didn't pick it up. But Brent has found himself a buffalo. We're going to stay here with this pride. Look at that.
that oxpeckers in his nose. Not the yellow-billed oxpecker we were looking for, but it is indeed a buffalo, and that begins with a B, so it's extra special today. Now, the buffalo had a torrid time of it last night, with the Nkahumas chasing them all about. Nice old buffalo bull. Beautiful wear on his bosses. You can see around his eyes and that he's lost a bit of hair from rubbing up against things. That oxpecker is irritating him. So there's probably about 10 or 15 of these bulls spread out through the bush, but we can only see this one nicely. Now, Michael's wondering, will a buffalo herd that's been split by hunting lions stay split permanently, or they reunite? They'll generally try reunite, even if it is days after the fact. I mean, we had that one buffalo cow who was hanging with the buffalo bulls after the lions obviously chased her herd around, and she decided that there was safety in numbers with the old boys. Was it better than being out on your own? Now, Mr. Buffalo, we would like to pass. Is that going to be all right? Oh, thank you. No, not quite. Let's move forward a tiny bit. Are you going to let us pass, sir? Why, thank you. So we're heading towards the open areas now, Impala Plains and places like that, hoping to add a different species to our bird list. And I think we might do a little dabble down towards Red Dam as well. Depending on how much time we've got. Oh, there we go. There's a new bird. One of the ones we were looking for out on the open area is the Senegal lapwing. Now this pair has babies, but I can't see them at the moment. They might be hidden. You always got to look very carefully for the little lapwings because they are so tiny. I think they might be very well hidden at the moment. Okay, well, let's keep going. While we keep checking and adding ticks to our bird list, let's go back to Steph and the sticks.
And there you just got the big man lowering his head after giving us a baleful stare there. He's been unconscious since we got here, and now he's decided to sleep again. The one mom has just literally sat up and just stopped the feeding. Have a look at that cub, just enjoying mom's comfort. You can see that constant licking of the cub on the right-hand side. That is just a hallmark of this mangy disease. Like I said just before you left to go to Brent's buffalo, I think that they will pick up condition very soon. It's the time of year that lions really thrive, is these dry times when there's lots and lots of prey around. And I think once the mom's milk is fortified with all the minerals that she can put into it and all the vitamins she can put into it, plus a good diet of meat and low stress, not walking kilometer after kilometer every single night, and with the fact that there's a Birmingham male with this particular pride, I find that, I predict that they're going to pick up condition, and hopefully in a couple of weeks they'll have all their hair back and would have managed to weather the storm from this mange attack. You just see them there, they're just constant. When they're not feeding, they're just constantly licking. So Judy, you've asked if there was mud available, would these lions take a mud bath to relieve the itch? Unfortunately, no, Judy. Lions very reluctantly enter water. They do it, but they very reluctantly enter water. And even less so, mud. Mainly because it just takes such a long time to clean off. The only relief that they're giving themselves at the moment is just this constant licking and scratching. So I would imagine that it eases. Excuse me, gee whiz. Please excuse. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I try and keep it away from the microphone, but to be honest, I don't know where to turn it. They sneak attack me. So they just scratch, and they scratch one another, and they lick one another, and they look for consolement from their mates and from their litter mates and from their moms. And it really just is a bit of a sad affair, but it's not really that dangerous. Yeah, this male's just stuck his head up again. Something is bothering him at the top of this hill. We're in a depression here, and I can't see what it is, but he's hearing something. I'm sure whatever it is will make itself known to us in not too distant future. Hi, Hannah. Hannah, you're a new viewer, and you've just asked us a question. Firstly, I just want to say welcome to the Wild Earth family, and welcome to Safari Live, and welcome to the community, and I'm sure you'll be welcomed with open arms. And you've asked me a question: Are there any lions here with manes? I would imagine that the question comes from the fact that you want to see a male lion with a big mane. And yes, we've got one right here. Let me show you what a mane is. A mane is that ruff of hair that you see around a male lion's neck and head. That is what you're looking at right there, that furry bit around his head. He'll stick his head up just now, and I hope I'll show you the full majesty of what that actually is. If you're asking a slightly more complex question, are there any female lions here with manes? Not in the Kruger National Park that I've seen. However, I have seen maned female lions in both Etosha and in Botswana's Moremi National Parks. So I have seen female lions with manes. What causes it, I don't know. At the time, I was just told that it was the pride that has females that do so well that they grow manes. You know, I don't know. I don't know why a female lion would grow a mane. I suppose I don't even want to warrant a guess. I want to call it testosterone. I want to call it maybe some inbreeding, but I don't actually know. I mean, the lions in Botswana do very well, so I can't imagine it would be inbreeding. And why a female lion in one area over another would all of a sudden have a testosterone increase that'll give her a mane, I'm not too sure. So I don't actually know the answer to that question. But if you're just asking about a mane, then this male here has one, and a glorious one at that. Not as big as what it will be eventually one day. He's still a fairly young male. And their manes, their black hairs that you see, the long black hairs that you can see poking out of the mane, the yellow ruff, closer to the right-hand side, that is his true mane coming through. And that is definitely as a testosterone response, and he gets an increase in testosterone because he's the dominant male of a pride. His body reacts to that, and this overt maleness, for lack of a better word, increases those testosterone levels, and he gets this black ruff of a mane. Not all male lions have black manes. Some male lions have gloriously blonde manes, but I have read in some literature that females are more attracted to males with manes, and then males with black manes are more attractive to the lady lioness. The lion just rolling over. Joey, all the way from Australia, good afternoon to you, Joey. You've just asked me if male lions ever play with their cubs. Not as often as what females do, but yes, they will have a rough and tumble and a wrestle every so often. But they do like to hold themselves aloof, and it's generally just very rarely, I would say maybe when they're walking, a male lion will try and trip one of his cubs, or he'll submit to a bit of a wrestling match for a little bit of time. So they do it, but not to the same degree that lioness will. Lioness will sometimes play with their cubs, they teach them how to hunt and they wrestle with them a little bit. But their real playmates are just their litter mates with one another. They're endless games. They play hide and go seek, they hunt together, they wrestle with one another, they play fight, they chase things, they share things, share twigs. So generally their playmates are their litter mates, not really the adults. The adults have got parenting to do, not playing. Now the reason why this lioness rolled over a little bit earlier was the fact that she's got all this meat sitting in her small intestine, tummy and small intestine at the moment, and there's not much that's helping that meat move around. So what she does is she rolls over every now and again just to help the meat move through the intestine. It's a vast quantity of meat that they can eat. They can eat up to a quarter of their body weight in one sitting. So think about that. You're a male lion that weighs 400 pounds. You can pack away a quarter of that, so 100 pounds of meat, into your belly at any one sitting. Now, 100 pounds of meat. Just think about that in how much meat you buy for your family once a year. So how many cubs have we got here? We've got 3 cubs with the one lioness, 2 with the other, and then we've got 2 cubs lying on their own under a branch here. So that would, by my maths, make it 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 8. Am I 8? Let's count them together. There's 1, 2 there. Three, 4, 5, 6 that I can see, with a 7th one, I think, lying on the other side of this mom's belly. Why don't we go and see? Let's reverse the car a little bit. You hold on tight. We're just going to start the car. Well, the wish was that I start the car. Indy this morning, looking for the Nkahuma Pride that we did. I wasn't quite sure we didn't do some damage to her. I haven't got quite the same commitment to the artwork of a Land Rover that Brent Leo Smith does. There we go, we're in a bit of a better position there. And also to give Hannah a bit of a better view of that mane along the back of the lion's neck. I'm worried about these cubs that are on their own. Hey Dave. We'll have a look at them just now. We'll go and see if they flicker an eyelid in a bit. You can see that this is typical cub behavior. What we're looking at here, literally feeding in close contact with one another, lying in the sun on the outskirts, but close to mom nevertheless. Have a look at that one, busy licking. The one on the right-hand side, busy just cleaning his feeding area. Full, too full to eat anymore, but still still in control. Right, Brent Leo Smith seems to be scratching around in the ground for something, and I think it would be good to sneak up on him to show you what he's doing.
Okay, so we came to check on the Senegal lapwing nest that was here, and it has been raided overnight. They were here yesterday. If we look, I don't know if you can make that out there, Brian. Looks, it's the back track of a genet. So a genet's coming here, it's scurried about. There were 4 eggs in there yesterday, and all I can find now is little bits of egg shell, and definitely not from hatching. You can see they've been broken up. So very sad, but genets have got to eat too. So even with that incredible camouflage, the ground nesting birds, let me just try, there we go. The ground nesting birds will sometimes lose all their eggs, which has happened here. To genet is quite a common one, white-tailed mongoose, honey badger, civet. In this case, it was a genet. Very sad, but it is nature out here. And those things do happen. And I'm going to keep that. That's a very cool little eggshell. Add it to my collection of things. So we were hoping to find some crowned lapwings out here. But alas, no crowned lapwings, and of course no Senegal. After their nest has been raided, it looks like they've moved out of the area. So some interesting news while you've been away. So remember early on the sunrise safari, the killer bees said it wouldn't be a killer bee day if they didn't go to Buffalo's Hook. Now, since we've passed Buffalo's Hook, Herbie's gone round, and there are female leopard tracks on top of our tracks. So Herbie's looking in that area. Unfortunately, we're quite far away, but I am listening to see if Herbie does find anything there, and then maybe we can make one last mad dash for a leopard before the end of the sunrise safari. Who knows? But until then, we're going to keep on searching for the birds. And I'm hoping, as we head towards Sydney's waterhole, we might add another couple of species. Oh, spider webs. It looks like if we can't get to 30, we're going to be leaving ourselves quite a challenge for the sunset safari. Now, Andrew would like to know if I have a least favorite bird. Oh, Andrew, that's a difficult question. I'm a very big birder, so I like most of the birds. I'd probably say my least favorite bird I've seen in the Sabi Sands is an Indian myna, an exotic bird species that are incredible bullies of other bird species. Look at that. Warming himself in the sun. A little squirrel. On the tip of that. There we go. There we go. There it is. Basking in the morning sun. Hello, little squirrel. And if we go down the branch, Brian, there's another one peeking out of a hole. And there he is. Hello. Now, I generally prefer it when squirrels are alarm calling at leopards, but we'll have to just suffice that, and they're just going to be warming themselves in the early morning light. Now, obviously, it looks like they live in that hollow boerbeen. Now, strangely enough, I have seen bush babies in this tree as well, and as well as a hornbill nest on the other side. So, a very popular tree. Well, let's leave the squirrels to warm up after a chilly morning. And we're heading towards Sydney's waterhole in the hope of adding some more bird species. Now, out of the common hornbill species, we're missing one, the grey hornbill. I can hear some calling. Hi, Hannah. Whoa, I nearly fell out of my door. It opened all by itself. They do that quite often. Well, Hannah, who's a new viewer, and as I said, welcome on the safari, Hannah. Hannah says, how often does the stream go out? This is so cool. Well, Hannah, oh, bird of prey, Brian. Hannah, I'll answer you, but I want to get closer to that bird of prey that's flying. So it's out twice a day, Hannah, from 6 a.m. Central African time to 9 a.m. and then again in the afternoon for the sunset safari from 3 p.m. To 6 p.m. Central African time. Okay, and we've got a big bird flying above us. It is not a batelier. I can say that much already. I think I know what it is, but let's have a closer look so I can confirm. Indeedy. Ooh, it could be a good one. It is indeed a very good one. Let's have a look. Let's wait for it to turn again. Now, who knows what that is? I wonder if anyone can tell me. If you know what bird is soaring above us, send your answers through to questions@wildearth. He's come a bit too close to us. There he is up in the distance. Questions@wildearth.tv, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So who can tell me what big bird that is? I know. Brian, do you know? Maybe. So what? And it is. I don't know if I should give away too much. I think you guys should get it quite easily. So it's just. Oh, where's he gone? He's gone over our heads. Ah, so what you're looking for in that one in particular, when we had a better look of it. Oh, he's going to go into the sun. Oh, I don't think we're going to get a good view. There he is. Maybe we can see it. No, we're not going to be able to see it from there. But look at the coloration on the underside of the wing. That is the giveaway on that one. And I can hear the grey hornbills ahead. Now let's see if we can spot said grey hornbills. So, we've got an answer in already. Was it an osprey? Most certainly not. Probably going to be quite difficult to see ospreys here, especially with the drought. There's some fork-tailed drongos, but I can hear... Ooh, there's the blue waxbill, Brian. Right next... There. Oh, there it is. The blue waxbill and another petilia. So I said they're often found together. And there's another bird that's also often found on the ground with them, some of the firefinches. I don't see any firefinches just yet. I can see the petilia. A couple of petilias, a couple of blue waxbills. Oh, Brian's found something. Oh, look there, there we go. A little bit to the left, Brian. A little bit more to the left. There we go, there's a chin spot batis. And there was a southern black tit as well, but there we go, chin spot batis. That's another species we've been looking for. So that's 2 out of here. Now, where's the crombeck? Got to be a crombeck in the bird party. And I just want to have a quick look through there. Is that more waxbills? Okay, let's keep moving. Oh, there's a flycatcher by the looks of things. And it was not a Warburg's eagle. There's another answer in. There is the crombeck in the bad light. Sorry, Brian. I'm going to try get him in better light. You can see on the edge of the quarry at the back. There. Oh, come on, hop into sight. There we go, a little crombeck. Now we've been looking for them with the bird parties. Not the best view we've had of a crombeck, but a crombeck nonetheless. Now, Joey, you're getting closer. It was not a white-backed vulture, but it was indeed a member of the vulture family. Oh, and it's gone. Okay, let's keep moving. Where are those hornbills we heard calling? Oh, I think we might be getting close to 30 now, Brian. It's not going to be easy, but we're on about 26, so that's a really good run in for the morning, especially with the PM, what's it, PW 300 or whatever this camera is. It lacks the super zoom, so we've really got to work hard for our birds. Okay, let's maybe have a look down at the waterhole quickly. And of course, we've still got the yet to be identified vulture. So it should be 27. Okay, so we're going to keep plonking away at our bird list. While we do that, let's go back to Steph and those scruffy little lions.
The scruffiest of them all has now managed to stand up and is now approaching Mom for a drink, and I'm very happy at that. You know, a sick cub won't drink. It's a male cub, I think. Let me just double check there. Oh, shame. And he's skinnier than his brothers. I think he's taking a bit of a hammering from this mange. There we go. There's Mom. There we go. Find it. There we go. Come on. Latch properly. He's just trying to get the flow of milk going. It'll take a few pulls to get the flow going. I wonder if she's actually still even producing on that side. She should be. There you go. There, and he's latched properly there now. Quite often, if you look very carefully, you can actually see the milk bubbles coming out the side. Books to give. You've just said that, and quite rightly so, it's a nice observation here, is that there's only 7 cubs. They may have lost one. I tend to agree with you. I think that it's a high probability that one cub is gone. On a carcass the size of a buffalo, on the length of time that these lions would have spent eating on it, it would have been a very quick thing for a mother to fetch a sick cub and bring her to a carcass. Or bring it to a carcass so that it would feed on the carcass and get some milk from her. So I think that there's a high probability that cub would have died. And this one that walked in from the side that's looking so crusty, although this one that's just rolled over you're looking at is looking even crustier than his brother. Shame. Oh, shame. Anyway. Like I said, full bellies, you can see there, very full bellies. It's a young male. I'm just going to try and get your name right here. I think it's Iritus Fox. You're a relatively new viewer who's been watching for... You've been watching for a few months now, or a few weeks now, and you've become so fond of these cubs, and you've wanted to ask a question that pops up perennially. Would we help one of the characters that forms such an integral part of our narrative and our story out here? Would we help A, and would we film it, B, I think is the last portion of your question there. Would we help a cub? This is such a grey area here, but the general rule of thumb... Oh, would we film it? Excuse me. Would we film it? Absolutely, we would film it. The birth and the death of these characters of ours, of these they're not really ours. This is just the lion pride that we've gotten to know quite well because they live in the area that we live in. And they have a different lifespan, they have a different way of going about their lives than what we do. And we portray that, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we will absolutely film it. And although it won't be nice to watch and it'll be very sad, and you know, it can get quite graphic and quite heart-wrenching, it's part of our responsibility out here to share that with you. We don't want to hide anything from you. We don't hide anything from you as our community and as our family, basically. We want to share all the things, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the successes, all the defeats. And that's how we make it part of the family, you know. And it's inevitable. Cubs are going to get born, and cubs are going to die, and cubs are going to grow up and watch their parents die, and males are going to come and go and create instability and kill lionesses and then father new lionesses. It's all just part of the lion's story. It's something that we need to just follow and keep up to date with you. I don't know if you've been watching for long enough, but to know that these Styx lionesses about a year ago had cubs that were roughly the same age as the ones that you're looking at right now. And one of the Birmingham males, possibly even the one that you're looking at right now, killed all their cubs and then walked around with a dead cub in his mouth for a day, and alternatively fed on a carcass and then mouthed this dead cub. And now we're looking at him very peaceful, the sire of his own cubs. They're the same age, and although they're a little bit moth-eaten or mite-eaten at the moment, they are generally in good health, as are their moms. And so that we needed to show you, and we did show you over all the months from then to now. And it's just part of their story. One cub has now died. We don't know how it died. I don't know how it died. The most common causes of cub mortality out here are hyena and leopard, other lion first, so predation, and then exposure and starvation. So exposure and starvation, and then disease. So it could have gotten sick very easily and died quite quickly, as easily as it could have been left behind and got eaten by a hyena, or bitten by a snake, or you know, was a bit hungry, or this mange just got to him very quickly on a down day and ended it for him. Connie, all the way from Wisconsin, has asked me, when would the authorities step in with medicine? Wow, that's an interesting question, Connie. I mean, we obviously would help if an animal is rabid, if we could. And we did that with Sindile the leopard. We didn't just leave him to his own devices. We'd obviously do it for wild dog and for cheetah because they are so critically endangered. If it's in our power to help, we will. Lion, I mean, we've helped snared lions before, quite often with medication. We've helped a lion that lost his eye once in a fight, so nothing man-made. So, you know, let me answer the question like this. If it's within our power and it's a vet condones it, one of the sand parks or one of the park vets condone it, they will help. If they don't think it's viable or feasible or valuable enough, they won't. If that makes a decision, it's left up to the scientific community, not up to us. If that makes it a bit easier to understand, I know for me, just trying to rationalize through what I've experienced in the past. Taking it away from cats even, we've helped an elephant that was in a fight. And elephants, especially male elephants, the Kruger National Park is reluctant to help. But this particular elephant on that particular day received help from one of the vets in the park. So yeah, I think it's up to the local vets. It's the decision is up to him to make. We just feed them information, and if they decide that it's worthwhile doing, then they do it. So obviously they're scientists and highly trained scientists, and they are able to make up a decision based on rational facts and figures. This little cub's got something sticking out the side of his, looks like his hip, to be honest. These cubs are skinny, you know. Oh, that's a little cub that was lying here behind us. He's now gone to a different female. No, it's the same female, she just moved. Same female, she just moved, so that's his mom. He's a bit skinny, I think that's why he looks so bedraggled. But he's now with mom, with milk, with a full belly. Lions have the most remarkable recuperating ability. Literally, you don't understand how skinny and how terrible they can get and recover from virtually nothing. So there's good hope for these cubs, at least from a nutrition point of view and getting over the mange. But from the Styx lioness and Birmingham boy and all their offspring, and from myself and from Dave, we just want to say thank you for joining us on Safari today. It's been a real pleasure hosting you again. There's a picture of the male lion for Hannah and his beautiful mane. And with him looking up in the sky at all these vultures flying around, leaving the carcass, we're also going to say our goodbyes. We will see you again this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Africa time. And from us to you, wherever you are in the world, have a pleasant day further.
There we go, one of quarantine's resident lilac-breasted rollers. So we were hoping to find one, and hoping it's going to put us closer to that magical number 30. That'll put us in good stead for the sunset safari. We've got a few more minutes. We're going to utilize every second, trying to add another bird or two. And remember, it is Killer Bee Day, so lots of surprises for the sunset safari. And I think Brian and I might be putting a few pictures up through the day, see what the killer bees do when they're not on air. And let's go have a look. Come on, we're on 28 bird species. 2 more to get to 30, and that should make life a little bit easier for us on the sunset safari. There we go, 29 in the road, grey-headed sparrow. And well done to Lucy and Aqua, who were correct on the vulture. It was a white-headed vulture. The white in the wings is the giveaway. Okay, we've got a few more birds in this little spike thorn flitting about. I can't really see them. Let's try and maybe move forward a bit. I'm worried that there might be some more grey-headed sparrows. And looks like they are actually. Let's have a look. Where are they now? Where have they gone? Are they? Oh, I can't see. What is that? Oh, it's just too far. It is, it's not, it's number 30. It is a ashy flycatcher, I think. I'm just going to double check that now. Oh no, I've lost sight of them. Oh, there's golden-breasted bunting lower as well. We'll go back to the flycatchers. If you come right down to the same directly below, there we go, golden-breasted bunting flopping to the ground. Let's get a bit closer to that bush. Oh, there's it looked like an ashy flycatcher. I don't know if we can count that because I can't see them now. But the the golden-breasted bunting, definitely. So we've got 40 seconds. Can we do one more? Is it possible? Brian? 30. 30. Panic. Where's Bird? Where's Bird? It's a grey-headed sparrow. We've seen that one. Oh no. We're going to have to do. Come on, one more. One more. I don't think we're going to do it, Brian. Yes, we are. Up in the sky, white-backed vultures. Bye.